Jim Ryder with High Tech Tack. We've had a lot of interest in showing how to remove a rivet so you can install these rider buckles yourself. So what we're going to do is a detailed video about how you can do this with just the tools you have lying around your house, or anyway, most of the tools that you'll have lying around your house. So we've already removed one rivet from this. So what we're going to do is remove the second rivet and go right into the installation of the new tongue. So the first thing you want to do is to know which side your adjustment pins is so you don't get that confused when you're reinstalling the tongue of the rider buckle. So we have an extra fine point Sharpie here, so we're just going to make a little mark on the stirrup leather. So that will remind us that the pins go on this side. That's very critical to what you're doing here. And on the other side, you can see how far this stirrup leather comes up. So when this tongue goes on here, will be on this side where you can see that this stirrup leather is going to interfere with unlocking this buckle. So you could unlock it this way, but for convenience, I like to put a notch in this. So we're just going to basically do a rough outline of what we want to remove so you can get to the tab to unlock it after it's installed. So once we remove this small portion of leather here with our utility knife, it'll be easy to get your finger or your thumb under this to unlock it. So now we're going to remove the rivet. On your rivets, you have two sides. This is the head of the rivet, which we'll be drilling out first, and then the burr will be on the other side. So what we want to do first to make sure we have a nice flat area on the burr side, put it against something steel, and that will give us a flatter surface to drill out when we get to that point. So right now we're going to take just a regular drywall screw, and we're going to use that as a center punch. Let me back up. We're going to take this fine point and we're going to make a mark where we want to do our center punch in the rivet. That way we'll have a reference point to where we're going to make the center punch. And this is crucial because the more you get to the center, the easier this rivet will come out. So take our drywall screw, and we're just going to make a small mark in the middle of that rivet. And using your extra fine point Sharpie, you have some reference after you make a mark on there to where you want your center punch, because if this is in exactly the center, the head of this will come off very easily. So now we'll take our drill and begin where our punch is and start to take this out. So doing this, you want two drill bits. You want one about the size of the rivet, and then maybe you want another one just a little bit larger. We'll go to the larger drill bit. And then we'll go back to the center of our rivet, and we're doing this part first. During this stage of the rivet removal, there's two things that can happen. This rivet will begin to turn, or your drill bit can walk off of this into the leather, so you want to go very slow. If your your rivet begins to turn it back over, set your rivet again, clench your rivet, and that will stop the head from turning, and you can continue drilling it out. Well, if you get it marked exactly in the center, this is what will come off. The head of the rivet will come off independently of the shaft of the rivet. So now we want to go to the other side. Want to repeat the same process. To take our Sharpie extra fine point, I'm going to make a mark in the center of that rivet where the burr is. Then we're going to take our drywall screw, use the mark as a reference, make a center punch there, go back to our drill. I think this time we're going to use our smaller bit. Go to our center punch. You can stop, check, make sure you're in the center, which we are. Continue drilling. And you can see the burr on the rivet began to turn, but I think we're down far enough, so we'll just take a standard screwdriver. We'll go underneath the burr of the rivet, which looks just like a washer. We will pry on that until we get it up. Now we've gotten it off. And we have our tongue removed from the stirrup leather. So the next part would be to take your utility knife and follow the outline that you've made to cut this off so you can get access to this tab once it's installed. So we won't try to cut through this all at once. We'll just make small marks. Progressively get deeper. So now we have the notch that'll give you access to the tab to unlock it once you get everything installed. So going by the curve of this, we know that it fits back this way. So now we're going to take our tongue. We've made notation here where your adjustment pins go. Put that right back in the same hole. Take our rivet. We'll start them through the front side, because while you're setting these, you don't want to damage the locking pin. So now we've got the rivet set. We're going to take our burr, put it back on, and to drive this burr down onto the rivet, I just have a quarter-inch drive socket, small socket. We'll put that over the burr. And you can see we've driven the burr down onto the rivet. So at this point, in order to make sure that you have enough of the shaft of the rivet left after you cut the excess off, I'm just going to put a little washer over it. That way it'll keep us from getting too much of the rivet off and leave enough for setting it after we remove this. So now we have plenty of rivet left on this to remove. So next you just take any hammer, and set the rivet onto the burr. Then we'll do that again. Take our 1/4-inch drive socket again. Use that to drive the burr down onto the rivet. Put our washer back over to make sure that we leave enough of the shaft so we can set it. And this left a little bit long, you might want to get a flatter washer. And we'll use that as a guide to cut that off. And then set it again. With our hammer. And now you can see that you have enough room there to get your finger under it to unlock it once it's on your stirrup leather. If you're planning on doing this, I have my phone on me 24/7. If you have any issues, call me at 405-361-7492. Thank you.